We are joined now by Cameron Gauntz and Frankie Corrado. Guys, Ivan Demidov, now a dozen games into his rookie season. And Cameron, we want you to grade him this far in.
I'm going to grade him on a bit of a curve since he's a rookie. I'm going to give him an A-. I think his offensive creativity, what he's brought to that team, he's invigorated that second line, and I think he's been an A- so far.
Ivan Demidov finished Tuesday night with 2 assists and another win for Montreal. His scoring streak reached 3 games. Rookie totals updated across the league. The gap widened at the top. No one moved closer. The same name remained first. Is this pace sustainable? And who, if anyone, can close the distance? The Montreal Canadiens defeated the Minnesota Wild 4-3 in a regular season NHL game on January 21st. The winning goal was scored by Cole Caulfield with 15 seconds remaining in regulation. The goal was his 25th of the season and his 7th game-winning goal. That total tied him for the league lead in game winners at the time of the match. Jacob Dobes made 16 saves for Montreal. The Canadiens scored 4 goals on 19 shots. Philip Deneau and Alexandre Carrier scored earlier in the game. Lane Hutson also recorded a goal. Montreal snapped a 9-game losing streak against Minnesota and earned its 2nd straight victory. Ivan Demidov recorded 2 assists in the win. Both assists were registered during even-strength play. Those assists extended Demidov's point streak to 3 games. Over that span, he has recorded 4 points. 3 of those points are assists. Demidov has now recorded 7 points in his last 5 games. That total includes 1 goal and 6 assists. Over those 5 games, he has taken 12 shots on goal. 8 of those shots came during his last 3 games. At the time of the Minnesota game, Demidov had played 50 games this season. He had recorded 43 total points. That point total leads all NHL rookies. He holds a 5-point lead over the next closest rookie scorer. Demidov's 2 assists against Minnesota directly contributed to Montreal's offensive output. 1 assist came on a puck movement sequence that led to a goal from the slot. The second assist followed a zone entry that resulted in a quick release shot. Reuters reported that Demidov's involvement in the scoring plays kept Montreal within reach before the final goal. His ice time remained consistent with top 6 deployment. He was used in offensive zone situations and late game shifts. Demidov's performance against Minnesota followed another productive stretch earlier in the week. In a previous game, he recorded multiple points and was involved in both primary and secondary scoring chances. Demidov's season totals place him at the top of the NHL rookie leaderboard. His 43 points exceed those of every other first-year player. The second-place rookie has 38 points, exceed those of every other first-year player. The second-place rookie has 38 points. The gap between Demidov and other rookies has increased since the start of January. Over the past month, Demidov has added points at a higher rate than other rookies playing similar minutes. Earlier in the season, Demidov was named NHL Rookie of the Month for December. The league announcement stated that he recorded 14 points in 15 games during that month. Those points included 4 goals and 10 assists. During December, Demidov led all rookies in assists. He also ranked near the top among rookies in even strength points. His production came against teams from both conferences. The NHL announcement also noted that Demidov closed December with a 4-game point streak. He recorded at least 1 point in 5 of his final 6 games of the month. Demidov's rookie season began with immediate impact. In his NHL debut, he recorded a goal and an assist. According to league records, that made him one of the youngest Canadiens players to record multiple points in a debut game. That early performance set the pace for the rest of the season. Demidov continued to record points at regular intervals. His scoring has included goals, primary assists, and secondary assists. Statistical comparisons show Demidov leading rookies in points per game among players with at least 40 games played. His assist rate also ranks first among rookies. As of the Minnesota game, Demidov had recorded points against more than half of the NHL teams he faced. His production has come both at home and on the road. The Canadiens' recent wins have coincided with Demidov's scoring streak. Montreal has won 2 straight games since his streak began. League data confirms that Demidov reached the 40-point mark faster than most recent Canadiens rookies. Only a small number of first-year players in franchise history reached that total before the All-Star break. Demidov's numbers continue to draw attention across league tracking platforms. His name remains listed at the top of rookie scoring charts. CBS Sports Fantasy Tracking shows Demidov trending upward in usage and point projection. His assist totals are a major factor in that projection. The NHL rookie scoring race has shifted since December. The margin between Demidov and other rookies has grown over multiple weeks.
With Bruce Boudreau just over halfway into their season and the Habs just 2 points out of top spot in the entire Eastern Conference. When their GM Kent Hughes spoke today, he tried to play it coy when he was asked about how aggressive he expected to be on the trade front. But
Kent Hughes is quietly preparing a trade that could change everything in Montreal, and the timing lines up with rising National Hockey League deadline pressure, shifting rosters, and growing market activity as reports confirm that the Canadiens front office is actively reviewing options as other teams begin to move, which is setting the stage for a critical decision window. The Montreal Canadiens are entering a critical stage of the National Hockey League season, and as the trade deadline draws closer, general managers across the league are evaluating rosters, injuries, and cap space, while Kent Hughes is among them, and recent reporting confirms that Hughes is actively monitoring the trade market while maintaining a cautious approach because his focus remains on roster balance, long-term value, and timing. Montreal's current position in the standings has played a role in this evaluation because the Canadiens are positioned inside the playoff picture, which changes how trade decisions are made. And while coverage from NationalHockeyLeague.com confirms that Montreal's record keeps them competitive in the Atlantic Division at this stage of the season. In recent days, several media outlets have reported that the Canadiens are not rushing into a deal, and Kent Hughes has not announced any completed trades, but insiders say preparation is ongoing, and this includes reviewing available players, tracking price changes, and evaluating how injuries affect team needs. Injuries have been a key factor because Kirby Dach has remained out of the lineup following a foot fracture earlier in the season, and his absence has forced lineup adjustments and increased workload for other forwards, while reports from the Hockey News note that Dach's recovery timeline remains part of internal planning as the front office assesses whether outside help is needed. At the same time, other injured players are nearing returns, and practice reports indicate that competition for lineup spots is increasing, and this internal pressure can affect trade decisions because when roster health improves, the need for emergency additions may decrease, and this balance is part of what Hughes is reviewing as the deadline approaches. Trade speculation has included both buyers and sellers scenarios for Montreal. An area of attention has been the Canadiens' prospect pool because Montreal holds several young assets that could attract interest around the league, and reports from National Hockey League Trade Talk indicate that defense prospect David Despresented Reinbacher has been mentioned in league conversation. While Reinbacher has played in the American Hockey League with Laval this season and remains on an entry-level contract, which makes his performance and age a valuable asset and also makes him part of trade discussions if the return is significant. Despite this, multiple reports stress that Kent Hughes is unlikely to move a top prospect without clear benefit because league insiders have stated that Montreal values development and roster continuity, and any trade involving young players would need to align with both current competitiveness and future planning. Another situation under review involves Patrick Laine because Laine has been sidelined while recovering from core muscle surgery, and reporting from National Hockey League trade rumors indicates that his future with the Canadiens is uncertain due to contract status and lineup fit, while Laine is approaching unrestricted free agency, which adds urgency to potential decisions because if healthy, his role must be defined, and if not, trade options may be explored to recover value before the deadline. Salary cap structure also affects these decisions because Montreal has more flexibility than some contenders, but cap space must still be managed carefully, and trades involving retained salary or multi-team arrangements are common near the deadline, while reports from inside the rink explain that such deals require advanced planning, which is already underway for several teams, including Montreal. Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield remain central figures in Montreal's lineup, and while no reports suggest either player is involved in trade discussions, analysts continue to reference the need for a strong second-line center to support the core because this position has been cited in multiple trade previews as a possible area of focus if a suitable option becomes available. Pierre Lebrun, cited in All Habs coverage, stated that Montreal will not force a trade, and according to Lebrun, the competitive, and this combination gives Kent Hughes options, while whether those options result in a trade will depend on how the market develops in the coming weeks. For now, the confirmed facts remain clear because Kent Hughes is actively evaluating trade possibilities and injuries. Roster depth and contract situations are shaping discussion, while no deals have been announced and no direction has been publicly declared, but preparation is underway, and the Canadiens remain one of the teams being watched closely as the National Hockey League trade deadline draws nearer.
Yeah, well, it was a point of focus before the game. We know that that's a big, heavy team. They do a real good job of tipping pucks and getting it's a battle around the net. But I thought our guys competed extremely hard tonight.
Craig Berube did not celebrate the overtime win. He did not smile. He did not soften his words. Instead, his message cut straight through the Maple Leafs locker room after the final horn, and the team had just completed a comeback. But Berube's tone suggested something was still wrong, and what he said next shifted the focus away from the score and raised serious concern. The Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 in overtime after trailing 3-1 during regulation, and the comeback was completed when Max Domi scored the winning goal early in overtime, while Austin Matthews recorded the primary assist on the play, and the result ended the game, but it did not define the night.
Yeah, no, he stuck with it. Good character win. Obviously a great way to finish off the road trip. It was a tough trip, but I liked our road trip overall.
Craig Berube addressed the media shortly after the win, and his remarks were measured and direct as he referred to the performance as a character win, acknowledging the team's response after falling behind. And that phrase was not used to describe execution across the full game, but was instead used to describe effort during adversity. Berube confirmed that the team's push late in the third period reflected commitment, and he cited energy from multiple lines and credited the group for staying engaged. However, he did not describe the performance as complete, and he stated that the team still has areas that must improve even after securing the 2 points. The Maple Leafs allowed the opening goal and trailed for long stretches of the game, while Winnipeg generated sustained pressure at even strength, and Toronto relied on quick counterattacks rather than long offensive zone shifts, and the Jets extended their lead to 3-1 before Toronto responded with goals from Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Bobby McMahon to force overtime. Dennis Hildeby made 27 saves, and several came during extended defensive sequences, while the Leafs faced breakdowns in coverage and neutral zone gaps that led to controlled entries against, and those moments did not go unaddressed. In the post-game setting, Berube said he liked the team's character, but stressed the need to be smarter in certain situations, and the comment referred to decision-making with the puck and awareness late in periods, and it was not directed at one player but applied to the group. A late penalty taken during regulation extended Winnipeg pressure and shifted momentum, and Berube acknowledged frustration with how that sequence developed, while the Jets had already capitalized on earlier opportunities and special team influenced the flow of the game. Austin Matthews logged over 23 minutes of ice time, and he played in all key situations and factored directly into the overtime goal, while Berube acknowledged his impact but did not isolate individual performances, and the focus remained on structure and consistency. The warning carried weight because of its timing, and it came after a comeback, and it came after a win, and it came without raised emotion, and the message was not softened by the result, and it did not stop with praise. The night ended with points in the standings, but the evaluation extended beyond the scoreboard, and that distinction stayed firmly in place. The warning delivered after the Jets game did not stand alone, and it matched a pattern Craig Berube has maintained throughout recent games, and in earlier outings, he has pointed directly to mistakes that changed outcomes, and after a previous loss, he said, just days before the Winnipeg win, Toronto lost an overtime game against the Vegas Golden Knights, and in that game, the Maple Leafs allowed a tying goal late in regulation after failing to manage the puck in the final moments, and the game extended beyond regulation and ended in a loss. And Berube addressed that result by highlighting avoidable errors and breakdowns late in the game. Following the win, Berube confirmed that video review would continue immediately, and preparation did not pause because of the result, as practice schedules resumed and game footage from Winnipeg remained part of internal evaluation. Players echoed the tone set by the coach, and responses were brief and aligned with his language, as no one described the game as complete, and no one suggested satisfaction beyond the points earned, and the message stayed consistent across the room. The Jets game added 2 points to Toronto's total, but it also added another example to the ongoing assessment of the team's play, and Berube did not shift focus toward upcoming opponents in his remarks, and instead kept attention on execution. The warning was delivered without volume or dramatics, and it was issued after a win, not during a losing stretch, and that timing made it noticeable, and it reframed the result. The overtime goal ended the night, but Berube's message extended beyond it, and the distinction between effort and execution remained clear, and the expectation of a full performance did not change with the scoreboard.
I think that's got to be the main point of focus each and every night. Like, we don't have to be the best team in the world every single night, but we need everybody to compete, and we need everybody to just play good. Everybody just has to go out there and do their job and play good. and just the consistency that's been a big part of it.
Something changed inside the Maple Leafs room, and it didn't happen during the game. It happened after. One short statement from the captain. Calm words, sharp meaning. Fans caught it instantly. Media replayed it again and again. The coach had just sent a message. Hours later, the captain answered, and what followed quietly shifted the conversation around this team. The moment came after practice, not during a game. Auston Matthews stood in front of reporters as the Toronto Maple Leafs tried to reset after another difficult stretch. The team had struggled to close games. Defensive lapses had cost points. Pressure was building. Earlier, head coach Craig Berube had addressed the issue directly. He pointed to leadership. He said the team's leaders needed to take more control.
I thought we just made it really easy for them. The neutral zone was, a highway for them to get through, and I don't know. We just made it so easy for them, and they're obviously a skilled team, a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and I don't think we put enough stress on them on both sides of the puck.
That context mattered when Matthews spoke. Matthews did not raise his voice. He did not criticize teammates. He did not challenge the coaching staff. His words were measured. "We can all be better," Matthews said. He pointed to the last two games and called them frustrating. He added that responsibility would fall on the leaders and said he was fine with that. He stressed grinding, consistency, and sticking to what worked earlier in game. They came hours after Berube's blunt assessment following a loss, when the coach said the leaders had to take control more than they were. Berube's style has been direct since arriving in Toronto. He speaks plainly after losses. He places accountability where he believes it belongs. After recent results, that spotlight turned toward the leadership group. At the same time, Berube had been openly praising Matthews' on-ice play. Before a recent game, Berube said Matthews was driving play, creating chances, and playing with pace and determination. That praise was public. It was specific. It focused on effort and approach, not just scoring. This exchange happened during a stretch filled with major moments for Matthews. He had just returned from injury. Soon after, he broke the Maple Leafs' all-time goal-scoring record, passing Matt Sundin. He scored his 421st goal in fewer games than any player in franchise history. That achievement came during a loss, which kept the focus on team results rather than celebration. Inside that environment, Matthews' words took on extra meaning. The captain was not speaking as a player chasing milestones. He was speaking as the face of the team during a moment of scrutiny. His message echoed the coach's demand for urgency and detail. It reinforced accountability without pointing fingers. Fans noticed the timing. Analysts noted the alignment. The conversation shifted from systems and tactics to leadership and response. The reaction to Matthews' comments spread quickly because of what followed on the ice. In the games surrounding those statements, Matthews' role was clear. His minutes stayed heavy. His matchups stayed difficult. He took key defensive zone faceoffs. He remained on the ice late in close games. Those deployment choices reflected trust from the coaching staff. Craig Berube continued to speak about structure and pace in the days that followed. He did not walk back his earlier comments about leadership. He also did not single out any player. Instead, he repeated that the team needed consistent effort across all three periods. His public message remained steady. Matthews' leadership role extended beyond scoring. After returning from injury, he resumed his position on the top line and first power play unit. His ice time remained among the highest on the team. According to NHL game logs, Matthews averaged over 20 minutes per game during that stretch. Those minutes included penalty kill shifts and defensive zone start, areas that often reflect coaching trust. In the days following those remarks, media coverage centered on the connection between the captain and the coach. Analysts replayed both Berube's earlier comments and Matthews' response. The sequence became the story. First, the coach challenged the leaders. Then, the captain answered publicly. Berube continued to praise Matthews' pace and effort in later interviews. Matthews continued to emphasize team play when asked about individual achievements. After breaking the franchise goal record, he redirected attention back to results and consistency. The exchange between coach and captain did not resolve the Maple Leafs' challenges overnight. Wins and losses continued, but the messaging inside the organization became clearer. Accountability was shared. Responsibility was acknowledged. Expectations were stated publicly, and as the season moved forward, that short statement after practice remained one of the clearest signals yet of how leadership inside the Maple Leafs room was responding to pressure.
With Marty Bureau. Marty, here's an observation I've made.